Right, this is from page 11 of my little cookbook, which has got lots of lovely easy recipes in. You can get that from the website fresherbites.co.uk. So let's start with the method. Number one, put the oven on at 200 fan, 220 normal or gas mark 7. I've got a normal oven, I'm going to put it on at 220. Great, next job, it says weigh the cheese and grate it. I'm using my digital scales today. If I turn them on and they're on here, they just go straight to 0. I'm actually going to grate my cheese into my vegetables. The recipe asks for 2 tablespoons of cooked vegetables, but I'm going to be a bit different today. I've got a little bit of just frozen mixed vegetables there that I cooked earlier, just 1 tablespoon. I'm going to add in a nice freshly cut spring onion, so it'd be like a cheese, onion and vegetable pasty. So I'm going to grate my cheese straight into there. I put my pot on there and it's gone up to 47 grams because that's what the pot and the vegetables weigh. So I'm going to 0 it. There we go. And then I can just grate my cheese straight into there. I only need 30 grams. It's really not very much, but you'll see it's plenty. So I'm just going to grate it straight into there until it says 30 on the scale. If you haven't got a scale, you can have a look at how much it is. We're halfway there already. That's already 15 grams. So it's not a huge amount. Here we go. 27, 28, that's it. That's 30 grams of cheese. So you can see that it's about a big handful, a couple of handfuls. You don't need loads. Okay. Don't need my scales anymore, I can turn them off, pop them out the way. That's it. So I've weighed my cheese and grated it. I've chosen my vegetables. I've just got these little pre-cooked frozen vegetables, but any leftovers would do. Or, as I said, I'm going to add in a little bit of spring onion. Have a look at the leaves on your spring onion and see if they look okay. These look perfect. And then just snip away. We only need a tablespoon worth. But because they're going to be in the pasty, we want them really nice and small. So here I'm just going to put in all the green bits and a little bit of the white bit. That should be enough. So, next job, it says to mix that up with the cheese. We want to mix it gently because we don't want to squash the cheese. We've got it nice and grated so that it all mixes in together nicely. So there we've got our cheese and our vegetables mixed, and this makes enough for 2 pasties. So we'll separate it out. We've got one there, one that side. Okay, next job, sprinkle your clean table with flour and roll out the puff pastry into a big rectangle or circle. I've already washed my hands, I've already washed the surface. I'm using this puff pastry that comes ready-made. It's really delicious. You can get ones with butter, but otherwise these are vegan, which is really handy. And 1 roll is 375 grams, which is enough for 4 pasties. So I'm going to make the 2 from the recipe, and then I'm going to use the rest of the pastry to make a couple of sweet ones. So here's my roll of puff pastry. This is enough to make 4, so I'm going to cut it into quarters. Cut it in half first. My knife, and then cut each half in half. That gives us quarters. There we go. Now we do want our pastry a little bit bigger than this, not a lot. So what we're going to do, put a little bit of flour on the work surface, and that will stop it sticking. So make sure your work surface is dry as well as clean, otherwise your flour is going to turn into glue when you put it there. So pop that on there, and I'm going to give you some rolling out tips. I've got a nice wooden rolling pin. If you haven't got a rolling pin, anything cylindrical will do. So you might have a bottle, a smooth bottle that you can use or something like that. That's fine. It doesn't have to be a proper rolling pin. So I just want to make it a little bit bigger in both directions. I'm going to start near me and just push forward twice. I'm pushing forward more than I'm pushing down. If I just roll backwards and forwards and push down, that's going to stick to the table. I don't want it to do that. I've just done it once. I'm going to turn it a quarter turn, 90 degrees, and do the same again. 1, 2, 3, start to finish, and a quarter turn 90 degrees and do it again. 1, 2, 3, I'm pushing forwards rather than down. I think that's big enough. That's how easy this bit is. Ready to go. Next thing you need is a little bit of milk, or actually not yet, read the instructions, prick it all over with a fork. If you forget this bit, it doesn't matter too much. Just stops it puffing up too much inside, because you really want the outside to puff up. But there you go, I've pricked it all over with a fork. Next I'm going to put half of my filling mixture right in the middle. There we go. This is going to be delicious. Cheese, vegetables. And this is the point where if you like a bit of pepper, a bit of salt, you could put some of that in. There we go. So now I need some glue. I need to stick this together. And the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to use a little bit of milk. I've got a pastry brush, which is really handy. But if you haven't got a pastry brush, you can use a bit of kitchen roll. Just fold up a bit of kitchen roll. You can even use your fingers to do the same job. If you've got a pastry brush, that's great. And I'm going to brush like a picture frame across the top, not loads, down the sides, just enough to make it damp, across the bottom. That's going to be my glue. So that glue, I'm going to pull the back towards me like this. And I want to make sure all that filling stays in there. So I'm just going to squish it in with the sides of my hands before I crimp the edges. So we know that that veg is all nicely in there. Now, you can do different things with the edges. You can turn it over and over. That's probably the easiest way. Like this. And go all the way around, turning it over and over. I'll show you on the next one how you can crimp it. So that goes, that's it, about ready. Onto the baking tray, which is going to go into the oven, but we'll wait for the oven to get nice and hot first. We also want to paint that with a bit of milk, but I'll do all 4 of them at the same time. So, that was easy, that was the first one. Let's do the second one. Same again, start near you, push, push. Rotate 90 degrees, doesn't matter whether you go clockwise or anti-clockwise. Start near you, push, push, push. That's it. One more and that'll be big enough. Great. Ooh, that's my scales beeping at us, let's move them out of the way. So we've got the rest of our mixture here. Pop that in the middle. I'm doing 4, that will give you the chance to catch up and to look at exactly how we do it. That's it. Make sure it all stays in the middle, don't let those peas escape. So if you're using the kitchen roll, dab it in the milk. Just go like that. Just use it like a paintbrush. You could actually use a paintbrush, but it needs to be really, really clean. You don't want bits of paint and dust and glue in your actual glue in your food. So there we go, that's worked really well. Bring it towards us. Make sure all the veg stay in. Stick that glue together. And I'll show you how you can crimp it. A finger, thumb and finger like this, and your other finger's going to go in to meet it like that. And it makes a nice little crimp. Okay, do that all the way around. So it's pushing like that to make a little crimp. There we go. That makes a really pretty pattern all the way around, as well as sticking it together nicely. That one can go on the tray. Ready for it to melt later. Okay, next. Roll this one out. We need a little bit more flour on the table. There we go. Start again. Start near you. Push, push, rotate. Rotate it every time. If you keep going the same direction, you'll get long and and squat and you want it to be bigger in all directions. And if you go backwards and forwards, you'll stick it to the table. So if we turn it every time, that works really well. A little bit wider. Perfect. So this one, I'm going to have a bit of a treat. I'm going to put some jam in it. I've got some strawberry jam. This one's going to be really tasty. So again, put the jam in the middle. The thing to remember with the jam is when it's cooked, it's going to be really, really hot. So give it a minute before you eat it. And again, I'm going to use my pastry brush. So you can see one packet of pastry will make 4 pasties. So you could either have a savoury one each, or 2 people could have one savoury and one sweet, which is a real treat, isn't it? Put it towards me again. The jam's not trying to escape, that can stay in where it is. Now I need to know that this is the jam one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the corners off with this knife. I'm going to crimp it like I did before. Crimp all the way round like this. There we go. Crimp, crimp, crimp. Then I'm going to, this has still got a bit of milk on it. I think I'll put a little bit more just to be safe. A little bit of milk on there as well. I'm going to stick that triangle on. We know the one with the triangle is the jam one. Okay. And one more. Start near you. Push, push. Rotate 90 degrees. Push, push. Rotate 90 degrees. Push, push. Ooh, we want this one a little bit bigger. Because this one, we're going to put some apple in. This is just a normal eating apple. I want to put some little bits of apple in there, but I don't want the skin. So I'm going to actually peel it with a potato peeler. So if you wanted to make an apple one, you could do this. The trick with peeling is getting the pressure just right. If you do it too hard, your peeler won't move. If you do it too soft, you're just stroking the skin. So you have to get right under the skin, like that. I'm only going to peel half of it, because we're only going to use about 1/4 of it. So that peel can go in the compost. Then I'm just going to chop it. My chopping board here. A little bit more than that. Just going to cut it into little pieces. My bridge hold like this. Cut it into little pieces. And because it's a cooking apple, an eating apple rather, it'll go really soft. It won't take a lot of cooking to make it really nice and soft. So there's a little bit of apple to go in there. That's enough. Just going to rinse my fingers, they're a bit sticky. And again, paint the milk to make glue, like that. Bring it towards me. Push around the edges to make the filling stay in. Now, I'm going to crimp it. Crimp, 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 crimp. I'm going to cut the corners off again, so that we know this is a sweet one. Crimp, crimp. There we go. And because this is an apple one, I'm going to cut this into an A for apple. Capital A for apple. So you could actually put your own initial on your own pasty so that you know which is yours. And use these little extra bits. Put it on there, put a little bit more glue on. A for apple. Okay, I'm just going to wipe the flour off this work surface. my clean cloth so that I can show you how to put the milk on them. You can see where I've got a bit of milk mixed with the flour. It makes quite a stickiness that we do not want in there. So, that's taken 15 minutes to make 4. That's brilliant, isn't it? So we've got the 2 savoury ones, the 2 sweet ones. The last job before we put them in the oven is a bit of milk over the top, and this will make them lovely and golden. The milk will caramelise in the oven and make them lovely and golden. You don't need to swamp it, because if you swamp it, it'll be too wet to get crispy and lovely. So we just paint it like that. And that one's flour. Here's our apple one with the A on it. And here's our jam one with the triangle on it. And we'll see the difference between the one that was folded over and the one that was crimped. We'll see how they come out. Make sure there's a little bit of milk all over everything. Right, these are ready to go in the oven. I need to check that my oven's hot enough. And it's not quite, so I'm going to give that a few more minutes before I put them in the oven, and then I will come back to you when they've been in the oven. They only take 15 minutes, so I'll let the oven heat up nicely, I'll pop them in. 15 minutes after that I'll come back and be live to show you how they look. Ooh. You can hear the timer. Let's get the camera on. There we go. Time's going off. The oven's hot, so I need to use an oven glove. So let's see how we're doing. Oh, they smell great. Wow, they're well and truly done. Again, I don't want to put that on there because I don't want to burn the surface. I've got a thing to put it on. These are the sweet ones. And these are the savoury ones. I'm just looking for, I'll pop it on the side there while I get another board. Wow, they look fabulous. So these are the cheese and vegetable ones. That one's A for apple, and that one's got jam in it. I think they're maybe a little bit over. So next, if you cook yours, keep an eye on them, have a look at them after maybe 12 minutes. Don't they look amazing? Pretty gorgeous. So that one was folded over and this one was crimped. You can see there's not a massive difference. So if you're just going to fold it over, that's absolutely fine. Shall we have a look inside so you can see how worthwhile it is to do? Cut it in half. Delicious. Look at that, melty cheese and lovely vegetables. Delicious.